All right, morning everybody. Um, Not plain fucking water. Haven't done that in a while. Why would I drink plain water? It doesn't hydrate, doesn't nourish, doesn't taste good. Okay, now that that's out of the way. Stoked because I just got my recording for Cassie's Truth About Light masterclass that was on Zoom yesterday, a Zoom live intensive masterclass on all things light. She went 3 hours. I'm pumped, paid in full. Looking forward to devouring that over the next 7 days. There's a lot, and there's a lot more there than just sun and vitamin D, for sure, as is the case with all her stuff. So pumped for that. Highly recommend you go get that and rent it and devour it and respect it, and then see where you come out on the end. But go in open, go in knowing nothing. Yesterday's Zooms had a Zoom full performance eval and then an information session, an hour-long information session. And after these things, because of the way it's set up, since closing my office and not participating in an office setting anymore, because I just don't believe that having a building that you have to go to in order to heal, even just that concept, makes any sense. And I couldn't participate in that anymore. I couldn't live saying one message and then practicing another, and my hands, body showed me with my hands, and symptoms in my hands, if you know that story. But I like the way it's set up now because one, these Zooms hit me. The shit we go into, the way it's set up, we can go even deeper and deeper into concepts, and it's not just setting movements in an order and then putting those up. If that was the case, I would just have collections of protocols: knee protocol, hip protocol, pelvic protocol, breathing protocol, spine protocol, and just put them on and rent and go. I wouldn't work with anybody, but as we know, colors are only as good in the hands of an artist. And so trying to break down these principles as to why injuries occur, and if somebody presents without an injury, that's fine, as to how you can put yourself in a position to be able to, one, heal all injuries, that's a given, and then two, be able to just elevate your functional level of life, no matter your age, no matter what's happened to you in the past, no matter what you've had cut out, no matter what you've been exposed to, it doesn't matter. So it's just, they're powerful visits, and as such, I get knocked out when I'm done with them, and I sit with them for a while, and I go over either the questions that were pitted to me during those visits that got me to think, the things that we go over because again, every single day I'm breaking apart these principles and these essentials and learning myself, and just breaking into stuff 22 years into this. And so the things I deliver in each visit are brand new to me because I've never met this person and I've never delivered it in this manner. So everything is sort of new, and some stuff that comes up, I like to sit with, and I like to think about what it made me feel and why I'm feeling the way I am and how I could do things better for the next visit, and how I could do things better for me, and how I could do things better in the way I live my life. Constantly sharpening. And something came up yesterday is when I was done delivering why injuries occur and then the solution to all injuries and breaking it down for this specific person, it seems to be observed out there with how I either deliver a message or what the message actually is, that when I'm talking about training per se, which is one essential, the number two essential as to the capacity that you're able to work on all of them. So it has to be like the biggest priority in your life as far as how I talk about it. Not just activity. We already talked about that. You earn activity through your training, and training is movement. But when I'm talking about training and you end up breaking it down, people are like, oh, okay, shit, this totally makes sense. A lot of them think, or a lot of you feel, that when I'm talking about preparing for life or training for this life that your training needs to match the life you want to live, that it's always this rigid, forceful resistance to everything that is trying to harm you, or what you think is trying to harm you, which nothing is trying to harm you. You're either prepared or you're not. But it's not about brute force and rigidity and anger and resistance and ward off and shield off, and everything is hard and harder than like that's a way that's not sustainable, in my opinion. I've tried that way. You can't do it. And it doesn't make any sense because it's not always resisting things in life. It's learning how to manage and adapt to things in life. And that adaptation process isn't always a fight, isn't always a grind, isn't always shielding, isn't always pushing back. Sometimes it's stepping right, sometimes it's stepping left, sometimes it's retreating, sometimes it's digging underneath, sometimes it's going over, and then sometimes it's absolute pulverizing whatever it is. So it's a variety of all that, and that is what training should allow your body to just know what to do, and why training needs to be set up in the manner and the principles of what I'm talking about. I've seen the rigidity culture. I've seen this masculine culture that we keep thinking is out there, and I'm not saying anything, but I've also watched them get injured with the very, very small, very focused point of force into a very tiny area, and that person just completely crumbles. They have no resilience to anything other than just bars and brute and just everything aggressive, and levels of testosterone mean good. And it's not sustainable. They break very easily. Those are the ones that, like, you see them do something very small and they just crumble, and you're like, what's wrong with that person? Yeah, they elicited this organized, brawny type of expression, but then this little thing came along and it was like, what the, you're a wet paper bag. You're a wet tissue in the world. You're really good at certain things, but when it comes to actually like all adaptation of life and all everything that's coming at you in life, you really don't have much. It's the ability to recognize, sense, and feel what needs to be pressed back, what needs to be completely annihilated, what needs to be avoided right, avoided left, what needs to be retreated, observed, and then pushed through. What needs to be, with all this, without fatigue, without panic, without, a miscalculation of, well, I thought this was for me, but it turned out this was. Like this kind of mistrust or distrust of self, of the body. And so that's what I want to be very clear on, because the way I am very adamant about these principles and how I won't let anybody get in the way of the human's capacity to heal and adapt, which is what all therapies, supplements, detoxes, all these professions will do. They minimize and break the trust between person and self, between this simple fact that the body only heals and adapts. And I can't stand that. I take it very personally. And so I need you in a stern way to understand what I'm talking about. But when we're talking about this, one of the most important essentials we've got that all the others are based upon, which is your movement essential, not activity, but training now, because of the way we're living our lives and because of the way we've either evolved or devolved. It's about putting yourself in a position to be able to just recognize these second by second by second. And you just know. Sometimes you're going to have to bone up. Sometimes you're going to have to get very, very resilient. Sometimes you're going to have to slide to the right. Sometimes you're going to have to step back. Sometimes you're going to have to sit, wait, pause, and then unleash. Sometimes you're going to know this. But to say it's always this resistance and hard and build up, and that's not what I'm talking about. And after visits is when people are like, shit, I totally get it. Because now they're in the driver's seat. They get to make that call. They get to determine, not a building, not a facility, not special equipment, not special guidance all the time. Somebody watching you every day, every second of every day, telling you when to go, what to do, how to do it. It doesn't work that way. It's not sustainable. And it's not human. It's the dehumanization of human now in the holistic world. It's the worst of all. So again, I just want to clarify that, because it might be muddy waters in my message, which is my fault. I got to get better at that. But if I do seem aggressive, or like I'm speaking as if this were the last message that I ever had on social media, if I'm gone seconds from now, I need truth to be there. I need the severity of my message to be understood, because I give a fuck so much about, one, my life, and then two, the truth that you have access to. You just haven't been given permission. It's been muddled. You had it as a child, and then everything got in the way after that. From parents, they did best they could. From schools, from government, from church, from TV, from celebrity, from whatever, from practitioner, doctor, naturopath, functional, all of them get in the way and make it appear that something's wrong with you, or you're dysfunctional, or you're slower than a child, or you heal at a slower capacity. No, you don't. You just have more things getting in the way. So that's the severity of the nature of my message. Now, when I'm talking about the essential called movement, the essential called training, it's not activity. So it's, man, I don't understand why everybody broke down. They were so active. It's not about being active. You earn the level of life you want to live at. Even a firefighter isn't always brute force. It's not about that. And I've worked with them. One's listening right now. What's up, B? So anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. Chew on that, digest it, dissect it. If you want exposure to more of this message, I do have those intensives that break down hanging and break down calf jumps and spinal hygiene. It is a way to get access to me without working with me. If you have more questions and you're not really ready to start full, do an info session. Pick my brain for 30 to 60 minutes. Ask me questions that I sure as shit won't get into on the comment section of social media, because it would be 89 comments long and it would vary. And I need to know more details about you. I need to know where you're coming from. I need to know stuff, because as Cassie says, a brilliant analogy, how could you possibly know how to tell somebody how to get home where you don't know where they're starting? And so that's kind of huge, because that is what it is. Truth is truth across the board. There's no denying it. Everybody's going to have access to it. Where we go from there is the individual's approach. But when it comes to training and it comes to this level of life, preparing for it isn't always this maniacal, angry, forceful, wake up and be pissed at your day and jump in this and aggravate this and 5 a.m. club, 3 a.m. club, just these badges of honor which aren't sustainable, don't work, and just leave us further not trusting of self. And I won't participate in that. So, all right, let's have a good day, everybody. Boom.